The blood covenant, how I fought my own family for my survival. I want you to imagine a 20-year-old girl sitting in a dusty university library, worrying about nothing more than her final exams and the hole in her favorite sweater. That girl was me. My name is Sarah, and back then, I thought the world was a simple place. I thought family was a sanctuary, and I thought the law was a shield. I was wrong. I was so incredibly wrong. My life didn't change with a whisper, it changed with a phone call that shattered my universe. My parents, the two people who were my entire world, were killed in a tragic accident. In a single heartbeat, I went from being a protected student to a grieving orphan. But the mourning period didn't even last 24 hours before the vultures started circling. You see, my father wasn't just a businessman, he was a silent giant in the shipping industry. He had left behind a legacy, a multi-million-dollar estate, a network of logistics companies, and a family trust that was worth more than most small cities. And because I was an only child, every single cent of it was mine. I remember the funeral. It was a sea of black umbrellas and fake tears. My Uncle Silas, a man I hadn't seen in 5 years, stood over my parents' grave and whispered, "Don't worry, Sarah. We'll take care of the paperwork. You just focus on your studies." At the time, I thought he was being kind. I didn't realize he was sharpening his knife. 2 weeks later, the nightmare began. I was served with legal papers. Not from a stranger, but from my own uncles and cousins. They were suing me for the entire inheritance. Their claim? They argued that my father was of unsound mind when he wrote his will and that I, a naive and unstable student, was incapable of managing such a fortune. But they didn't stop at a lawsuit. They wanted me gone. First, they froze my bank accounts. I went from living in a beautiful home to being unable to buy a sandwich. Then, the accidents started. One night, as I was walking back to my dorm, a black SUV tried to run me off the road. A week later, my apartment was broken into, and my laptop, containing all my evidence and communications with my lawyer, was stolen. I went to the police, but Uncle Silas had deep pockets and deeper connections. They told me it was a family civil matter and there was nothing they could do. I was 20 years old, penniless, grieving, and being hunted by the people who shared my blood. I remember sitting in a cold, empty park one night, shivering. I had nothing. I thought about giving up. I thought about signing the papers just to make the fear go away. But then, I remembered my father's voice. He used to tell me, "Sarah, a diamond is just a piece of charcoal that handled stress exceptionally well." I stood up, wiped my tears, and decided to stop being a victim. I became a ghost. I dropped out of my classes and took a job cleaning a law firm at night. Why? Because I needed access to their trash and their books. I taught myself the intricacies of probate law while scrubbing toilets at 3 a.m. I realized that my family was hiding a dark secret. My father hadn't just died in an accident, he had been investigating Silas for embezzling from the company. That was the motive. They didn't just want the money, they wanted to bury the evidence. I spent the next year living in a tiny basement room, eating plain rice and spending every waking hour building my case. I became a private investigator of my own life. I tracked down my father's old bookkeeper who had gone into hiding. I found the original, untampered with documents hidden in a safe deposit box my mother had kept in secret. The day of the final court hearing arrived. My family sat on one side of the room, dressed in their tailor-made suits, smirking at me. Silas looked at me with such disdain, as if I were a bug he was about to crush. I stood there alone. No expensive lawyers, no entourage. Just me and a thick leather folder. When the judge asked for my opening statement, Silas' lawyer laughed. The girl is a student. She has no counsel. This is a waste of the court's time. I walked up to the podium. My voice didn't shake. Your Honor, I said, I am not here to argue about money. I am here to report a crime. I laid out the evidence, the forged signatures, the wire transfer records showing Silas' embezzlement, and the forensic report proving that the accident that killed my parents was caused by a tampered brake line. The room went dead silent. The smirk slid off Silas' face. He turned the color of ash. I didn't just win the inheritance that day. I watched the police handcuff my own flesh and blood in the middle of the courtroom. Today, I sit in my father's chair. I am the CEO of that shipping empire. I have transformed it into a global leader in green energy. But I don't look at the money as a prize. I look at it as a responsibility. I used my inheritance to build shelters for young women who have been cast out by their families, ensuring they never have to fight their battles alone like I did. My family thought they could break a young girl. They forgot that you can't break someone who has already walked through the fire. I am no longer that scared student. I am the storm. If this story inspired you to keep fighting your own battles, please hit that like button. It helps us reach more people who might be going through their own dark times. If you believe that justice always prevails in the end, leave a comment below saying unbreakable. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel to join our community of survivors and warriors. Your support means everything to us. Thank you for listening to my story. Sparkling heart to all women watching. No matter how hard life tries to break you, you have the power within to rise. If you're facing struggles in your family or life, know you are not alone. Every like and comment helps the story reach women who need strength and hope. If you believe in fighting for yourself and standing strong, type unbreakable below and join our community of warriors. White heavy checkmark, hit subscribe to get inspired by more stories of courage. Speech balloon, share this video. Your support could give another woman the strength to fight. Remember, you are stronger than you think. You've already walked through fire. Now, you are the storm. Glowing star.